My name is Douglas, and this is Vlogmas. And today I spent about half an hour writing some content for a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. At least a year ago, maybe more than two, my sense of time is pretty screwed up. But at some point in my past, boyfriend got our friend group interested in Dungeons & Dragons. And so I thought I'd give it a try. I'd never really been interested in it before, but I found it was a lot of fun. It's a really good fit for me, because I could get really into the character and use that to have fun in the game. So one thing that I do as a writer is I focus on character-driven content. And there's a point in writing at which the characters talk in my head, and they'll tell me what it is they want to do and give me a sense of where the story is going to go. And so the characters for me really drive what the plot is doing. So this works out so well doing Dungeons & Dragons because the characters in my head and the decisions that I make as a player are entirely based on what the character wants to do. I had a gnome bard named Hazel that I really liked because I got who he was, and he was sort of detached but focused on kind of fun. And then there was this other character, don't really remember much about him other than I remember that he did magic, and he fell in love with this spell where he creates fire, and he fireballed somebody in the face just because he didn't like him. So unlike Hazel, but it was so much fun to enter this different character. And so at some point I had been considering writing a book and then maybe a book series, and I wasn't sure where it was going to go, and I've started it dozens and dozens of times. But it was this idea related to kind of a fantasy world where you have a bunch of wizards who kind of control what the elements are. And I was working on this idea of a story where magic isn't necessarily respected anymore, even though it used to be, and now things are sort of in turmoil, and you're sort of dependent on the one hero to fix everything. It was a neat idea, and I thought the story could have worked well, especially because one of my hero characters was focused on somebody who wasn't the person with the magic and just had to have the right tools at the right time to succeed. It was a sort of dual protagonist idea. But anyway, I haven't really gone further with it. And like a lot of what else I write, it started to get really character-driven, but that doesn't work great for a fantasy novel because so much of it is dependent on what the plot is and the scene and the story, and you have to build so much of that. But it's going to work great for a D&D campaign because the world building kind of happens as you go, and it is character-driven because it's the players who decide what's happening next and where things go. So I'm excited to be able to take this idea and instead of having the sort of hero I have to shoehorn in to figure out how to make it work for a novel, I have my players who have developed themselves and who will drive the plot where it needs to go. But I can still have the same kind of motivation of things are thrown out of balance, and now these heroes are the ones who are responsible for pushing things forward. And I can do things where I kind of reveal little bits as time goes on because I have a sense of where things want to go. And I've really enjoyed writing it, and I think I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep trying to put this together. Now, granted, we're going to plan to start a new campaign soon about elemental evils. And that's going to be exciting. But hopefully we can wrap that up in time for me to have my story come in soon. We'll see. This has been Vlogmas. I'll see you tomorrow.